I did sign a $1 billion investment into the country with GE, an American company.
This government has the right people in the right places.
Partnering with the bank of industry, you cannot go wrong.
I want to thank all of you for signing up for this.
With us, we have all our top stories and other programs on our website, channelstv.com, and on youtube.com/channelsweb.
On m.channelstv.com, you can view us live on an iPad, iPhone or BlackBerry device, and you can download the Channels TV app for Android and Nokia 920 devices from the respective stores. The Chairman House Committee on Education, Mr. Aminu Sule, says the National Assembly will oppose the proposed scrapping of the National Examinations Council, NECO. The lawmaker, during a courtesy call on the Niger State Governor, Muazu Aliyu, noted that the National Assembly will do everything within its power to stop the move, adding that scrapping the only indigenous examination body in the country is completely out of place. He suggested that the federal government should encourage the establishment of other examination bodies.
The ambassador of Switzerland to Nigeria, Huddle Hans Rudolph, has given assurance of his readiness, the readiness of his country to assist Nigeria in tackling the problem of insecurity if requested. Ambassador Hans Rudolph made this known at the closing ceremony of the capacity building in agriculture education in Nigeria, held in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital. While urging the federal government to brace up to nip the crisis in the bud, the ambassador also emphasized the need for the federal government to shift from dependence on oil to agriculture, which he believed would create jobs and reduce poverty in the long run.
Will remain important, not by reducing oil, but by increasing agriculture, of course. Yes, absolutely. And not only agriculture and oil, also industrial products. When you can look, when you drive around, everybody is active in commerce. Everybody is buying, selling. People should also produce, and if you can have industrial production for your own population, you have to import less, and you can probably even export. There are other countries who have in Asia which have huge exports of industrial products. You have a labor force and you have the intelligence. You could probably copy these examples. Of course, it has to feed the people first. What is the worst is if a country produces agricultural products, everything is exported and their own people still has hunger. This of course is not a good example, but I have no impression that Nigeria is on that bad track. We are on a good track. You increase agriculture first for you and then eventually also for export.
Well, Kwara State is not taking the rain prediction of the Nigerian Meteorological Agency lightly. The state government has mapped out plans to educate people living on the riverbanks on the need to relocate to safer areas. Briefing journalists on the government's efforts to prevent a recurrence of last year's flooding, the Special Advisor to the Governor on Emergency and Relief Services, Mr. Musa Abdullahi, said dams in the state are monitored frequently to prevent unchecked release of excess water.
Because we don't want to experience the kinds of calamity we experienced last year. The state government has embarked on various means occurrence of flood disaster in Kwara State. There is consistent stakeholders meeting with the people from the flood-prone areas on periodical basis. There is the construction of bridge at Buka, Adana community in Moro local government. There is the construction of water channels at Agadia, Danielu in Ilorin South local government. Not only that, the state government has also embarked on construction of water channels at Tanke area. There is the construction of embankment against overflowing of River Niger at Shogatada Road in the local government. This is done in order to prevent flooding.
Edo State government has called for more stringent measures against pipeline vandals to checkmate their activities. Executive Director, Petroleum and Gas Monitoring Committee in Edo State made the call when the committee, in conjunction with Civil Defense Corps, intercepted a truckload of stolen crude in Benin.
This tanker was apprehended in Benin City. It's loaded with 3,000 liters of crude oil and has 4 different registration numbers as a means of evading security agencies.
This truck that was arrested has a number that is different from what we found inside the truck. You can see one plate number carrying Niger State, and here again there's another plate number carrying Adamawa State, and here again you can see another plate number carrying Lagos State, and all on the same truck. Meanwhile, the particular plate number now which is on this truck is carrying Abia. This is the kind of human beings we have in Nigeria today. Who are faceless, who have no integrity, who have no atom of human faith in them at all.
The Petroleum and Gas Monitoring Committee also took its inspection exercise to Ikoba, Oha and Ego local government area, where it was found that most independent marketers under-dispense fuel to the consumers. All of such filling stations were sealed. The committee also promised to embark on periodic monitoring to ensure that offenders are put out of business.
On business news after the break, CBN speaks on the cashless policy drive.
And preliminary games of the Channel's Indomie National Kids Cup kicks off on Wednesday.
Please join us again.
Investigating, exposing, uncovering, reporting, hard-hitting interviews. Sunrise Daily, only on Channels Television.
Welcome back on Business News. The Central Bank of Nigeria has listed lack of trust in the nation's banking system and lack of clarity in communication of content policy as some of the challenges affecting the federal government's cashless policy drive. The Apex Bank's Deputy Governor of Operations, Mr. Tunde Lemo, said this during a meeting with the State Deputy Governor, Segun Adesegun, in Abeokuta on the takeoff of the policy in the state.
And while asking Nigerians to support and ensure the success of the policy, Mr. Lemo said necessary bills are currently before the National Assembly for consideration. The Deputy Governor, expressing the support of the state government, said the system has improved the state internally generated revenue. Now let's head to the Nigerian stock market. Stocks at the local bourse extended losses from Monday's session. The all-share index went down 0.92%, finishing at 34,815.24 points, with a market capitalization of 11.1 trillion naira. Leading the pack of losers are Learn Africa and RT Briscoe, shedding 10% each of their share prices, followed by Eternal Oil with a 9.8% loss. On the flip side, May & Baker and QTix edged up by 10% each, while CAP trails behind with 9.9%. Axis Bank is at the top of the volume chart, pulling 54.5 million shares ahead of FBNH and Mansard Insurance. When the closing bell rang, volume came in at 354.3 million, valued at 4.6 billion naira, traded in 6,249 deals. Nigeria will soon stop accessing funds through the World Bank International Development Association, that's the IDA lending window for low-income countries. And this is according to the World Bank country representative, Marie-Francois Marinelli. She said this has become necessary because the country has attained some higher economic conditions that now make it eligible to borrow internationally on commercial terms. She, however, says Nigeria will then move to the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, a lending program of the Global Bank, but it comes with some interest, unlike the IDA. According to her, discussions on this are currently being held, and if the plan pulls through, Nigeria will, after the next 6 to 7 years, no longer